Hey everyone, it's Admiral Seabass. Welcome back to my war room in the great state of Indiana, and China turned 7 in Operation Veration. Technology, China is going to go for the three familiar techs, PGMs, AMD, and Chem. All three techs are currently on stage 2, so China's just looking to get some advancement here. Need an 8 or higher on any of these. And we got one of them. Man, tech just seems like it's been bad for everybody. So that's Kim. Actually, that will be helpful because get my chemical marker here. That gives China 3 chemical attacks, which is going to come in handy later on. Okay, so purchase this turn for China. Once again, we're going to buy 2 sets of 2 early gen MBTs and 1 field artillery for 6 IPP each, and then a SPAG for 2. We're going to save our battle stars. We get a chance to earn anywhere from 3 to 6 battle stars this turn. Probably more like 2 or 3. 6 would be exceptional. This is a reminder for me to place my other People's War marker at the end of the turn and to replace the pack oil tanker at the end of the turn as well. Okay, let's do combat movement. Okay, let's start down here in Southeast Asia. We are going to attack Laos and North Vietnam. Both are only defending with a single light infantry. China will be using chemical weapons in both. So into Laos, we will have, one thing I forgot, which I will show you real quick. Burma has signed a military pact with China due to Soviet possession of Laos, which is adjacent. So we're going to use those Burmese forces this turn in this attack. So into Laos, we'll bring a light infantry and a field artillery from Burma. We'll bring a light infantry and a field artillery from southern Yunnan. We will bring an early gen fighter from Zhejiang. We'll bring an early gen fighter from Guangxi. Okay. Then into North Vietnam, we will bring 2 early gen MBTs and a field artillery from Guangxi. And we will bring 2 early gen fighters from Guangxi. And then I have to divvy up my other air assets. So into North Vietnam, we'll bring the air superiority fighter from Zhejiang. Into Laos, we'll bring the medium bomber from Guangxi. And we will also bring the fighter from Zhejiang into Laos as well. Now, given that I'm not going to scramble, I could scramble a fighter and an early gen fighter from South Vietnam, but I'm really going to need those for the counterattack next turn. So we're not going to scramble any of those as the Soviets. All right, let's keep moving on in combat movement. Okay, here in P36, we've got to try to clean out these Soviet subs, as painful as it's going to be. So we're going to attack, or as painful as it could potentially be. So we're going to attack again with our SSN, our SSK, and our destroyer. Okay. Then we'll fire the anti-ship missile again into a strike against the Taiwan Navy. We will try to sign a defense treaty with Bangladesh, which currently has a cooperation treaty only. I missed that. I could have been rolling that earlier. And then up here in, yeah, that's a better view. We're attacking Inner Mongolia, and that's the Soviet and Mongolese forces here. So we're going to attack with one cruise missile. We're going to use SpySat. We're going to use Kim. The field artillery from Beijing will come in. 4 paramilitary from Quinjai will come in. 3 paramilitary from Ganshu will come in. The Spag from Ganshu will come in. The medium bomber from Quinjai and the Erligen fighter from Eastern Xinjiang will also go into that attack. Okay, let's start rolling some dice. Okay, first up, let's see if we can get a defense treaty with Bangladesh. We're looking for a 10 or higher. Nope. Bangladesh says no. All right. Then let's do the painful naval attack here in P-36. So all the subs will essentially fire first since they all have first strike. So we will do the Soviet SSN in pink. The Chinese SSN in pink. The Chinese SSK is in green. Oh, okay, there's one hit. So then the 3 Soviet SSKs will fire back. They're all at 3s. There's one hit. Only one hit. Okay. So the Chinese will lose an SSK. The Soviets will also lose an SSK. And then the Chinese destroyer gets a 4 or less. Oh, there's a hit. Excellent. So Soviets have to lose another SSK. And now the Soviets basically have to go into silent running, which they're able to do because they're defending alone. Because otherwise they're going to die. Well, the odds are heavily stacked against them. So they'll go into silent running. Actually, scratch that. Since they made their defense roll, they can be attacked again in a second round of combat, which the Chinese will do. And then if either of these miss, then the Soviet SSK can go into silent running. Okay, so again, there's no first strike anymore after the first round, so the Chinese destroyer will be... Actually, they're both at 4 or less, so we'll just roll them both. And there's a hit. So Soviet SSK does shoot back since it's going to die anyway, and it misses. All right, go Chinese Navy. There we go. All right, that was pretty big for China. All right, put those there to show their Chinese, or easily show their Chinese. Okay, let's do the anti-ship missile strike here against Taiwan. The Taiwan fleet, there's no AMD, and that's a miss. All right. And let's move some of the... Actually, I bet we could do the Southeast Asian combat not on the battle board. I'll be right back. Okay, let's do North Vietnam first. So we've got a Chinese field artillery using Chem, looking for 1s because it's mountain. So double dice, looking for a 1. Both miss. Okay. Then we've got, the air superiority fighter retired. So then we've got 2 early gen fighters. And those will be in pink. And those will be at 3s. So the pinks are 3s, the greens are 1s for the early gen MBTs. So the pinks are 3 or less. All right. And we got the hit we needed as China. So... the North Vietnamese / Soviet infantry at a 4. That's a hit. So China will take an early gen MBT as the casualty. And we'll capture North Vietnam from the Soviets, who have a good chance to take it back. but they might have Laos to deal with too. So speaking of Laos, let's roll right into Laos. So here we've got 2 field artillery using Chem, again at 1s. So 2 1s would end the battle, 1-1 would just Chem disrupt. So let's see what we can get. Nothing. Yeah, that was low odds anyway. All right, so then we've got the Chinese fighter at a 6, misses. The medium bomber at a 5, misses. 2 early gen fighters at 3, and there's the hit we needed. And then the Soviet/Laotian infantry shoots back at a 4, and he hits. Okay, so we'll take the Burmese light infantry, and we will also capture Laos, which I think is a bonus income. Speaking of income, for North Vietnam, China goes up to 10, Soviets go down to 18. All right. One more combat. Yep, let's move that one to the battle board. This will be for Inner Mongolia. Okay, so we do have lots of first strike, and the Soviets are using chemical weapons with their field artillery. So we do have a Chinese cruise missile with a spy sat also. And so China will get 2 1s for the field artillery using Chem, and the cruise missile will be in green. Okay, so the field artillery missed, but the cruise missile hits, and with the spy sat, that is a target select. So we will take one of the MBTs with that cruise missile. So that was good for China. All right. Now, this could hurt because these are 2 field artillery which are defending at 3s. By the way, the Chinese attacked at 1 because Inner Mongolia is mountain, I believe. Yep, sure is. So 2 3s, double dice for the chemical weapons. And they all missed. All right. So then we will do the Chinese medium bomber at a 5. Miss. The early gen fighter at a 1. Or sorry, at a 3. That's a hit. So that's a general hit for China. And then I think 7 paramilitary. These are at 1s. Nice to get 1 hit here, though statistically not very likely. Yeah, those all miss. All right, so for the 1 hit, China will take the field artillery. Okay. Now in response, the MBT in green misses, the light infantry hits. So China will take a paramilitary. Or do I want to take the field artillery? I think I'm going to win this battle, so I'd rather have the field artillery to defend the counterattack. So I'll take a paramilitary. All right, so round 2, artillery class units all retire. And we start again. So medium bomber hits. It's 1 hit. Okay, China only needs 1 more hit. Early gen fighter at a 3. That's a miss. And now 6 paramilitary at 1s. Well, there's a 1 outside the box. That doesn't count. And there's a miss. So with the 1 hit, Soviets will take that. And so target select doesn't matter now, so I can roll the MBT and the light infantry together. And they both miss. Okay. So again, okay, this time the medium bomber and the early gen fighter will roll together. The medium bomber will be in green. And the early gen fighter gets a hit, so that's the end of the battle. MBT rolls at a 4 or less and misses. So the field artillery will die also. And Inner Mongolia has been recaptured. Okay, so you can see we recaptured Inner Mongolia with these forces here, which are on this card here. The medium bomber and early gen fighter will both move back to Qin Jai. The paramilitary and SPAG will slide over from Gansu, or from eastern Xinjiang to Gansu. And then Let's see. The destroyer and the SSN will go back in port there at the major port here on the southern tip of Guangxi. That was a great naval victory for China. Oh, that's 3 battle stars. Actually, they did earn 6. We did earn 6, so I'll cover that in collect income. And then from North Vietnam, the air superiority fighter will come back to Zhejiang. The medium bomber will also come back to Quinjai here in the middle. No, it'll go back to Zhejiang as well. And actually, the other medium bomber will also land at Zhejiang. The fighter will also land back in Zhejiang. The 2 early gen fighters, actually 4 early gen fighters, will all land back in Guangxi. And I think that's it. I don't think I can move anything else. So let's get to place units. Okay, the SPAG will go here in eastern Xinjiang. Oh, shoot. B-52s. Tough to keep on the table sometimes. The field artillery and 2 of the early gen MBTs will go here in Guangxi. And then here in Beijing, which is that big card, we will have another field artillery and 2 more early gen MBTs there as well. All right, let's go to collect income. Well, while we're over here, let's place the People's War marker, which we will do in Inner Mongolia. Or do we want to do it in Eastern Xinjiang? We'll leave it in Inner Mongolia. Yeah, we'll do that. All right, now collect income. Okay, first of all, battle stars. We captured 3 enemy land zones and killed 3 subs defending alone. That is 6 more battle stars, which will give us 8 heading into next turn. That is awesome. Okay, so then for base income, get my cheat sheet here. Well, base income for China is 10. I know that. So they get 10 for base income. Okay, and then let's see. China gets 2 for P-36 now being cleared of enemy units. So that's 2 more. Takes us to 12, which is what we had this. No, we have 14 this turn. Okay. We possess Laos. So we get another 1. So that's 13. And I think that's it. I think that's all we get. So we'll have 1 less, but tons of battle stars. So, yeah. Do we not get 1 for Burma? We should. That's why I love playtesting. Make changes on the fly. We will get 1 for Burma. So that'll take us to 14, which is what we had this turn. And I'll replace that oil tanker off screen. Available as a target again, though the Soviets may have other ideas with their navy down in Southeast Asia. What's left of it anyway. So yeah, that's the end of turn 7 for China. And we will go to turn 8 in Operation Variation. Take care, everyone.